Hello, everyone. Hope you're having a wonderful day so far. And I want to talk to you today about being attached, having attachments. What are they? How attached are you to things and people? And why is that so important, especially today, right? Because with everything that's happening worldwide, with the whole COVID and them coming out essentially with the passports, which they have done in certain countries already, as well as I understand in New York, it's already a case where they're going to be talking about, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do the other unless you're vaccinated. And therefore, pretty much kind of blackmailing you into the jab. So for those of you who actually want to stay in their integrity and don't want to get the jab, I think it's of utmost importance not to be attached to things. There's a statement that says, be open to everything and attached to nothing. And today that is more prevalent than any other time. What is that, so what does that mean, being attached? Well, first of all, if you do have attachments, you are much more easily manipulated or blackmailed into things. But what are attachments? Attachments are really, it's a low grade form of addiction, really. And we have all attachments to things, like whether it is, somebody who's attached, you can be attached to people, first of all, attached to things, or attached to situations. It can be attached pretty much to anything. Like, for example, you may not want to live alone because you're attached to having somebody live with you all the time, right? Or, you could be attached to, I'm actually recently attached to chapstick. I have to have chapstick on my lips. You can't live without it. I don't know what kind of healing I need to do in regards to that, but I'm attached to chapstick, I'll admit it. So anyway, so what else can you be attached to? We could be attached to our soulmate or to our partner, if you will. You can actually gauge that based on how easily you let go. So in other words, how easily can you let go of your partner? Some people, they break up, but then they come back together again, right? Because they're attached to each other. And usually it's because there is actually, and this is where attachments actually come from. It's because you have a pain somewhere that's unresolved, and that it generates fear through your ego. And so you create an attachment to something. It's kind of like an easy form to fill those holes that were created by pain, if you will. And whether you know them or not doesn't matter. But, you have to get observant to really understand yourself, to really get to know yourself in that regards on the deeper level aspects. But, we can be attached to a partner. If we have a difficult time letting go, losing them, for example, you could be attached to your parent. If you have an extremely difficult time letting go of them, or the idea that they might die someday. I've been, for example, very attached to my mother. It has become better in recent years that I have done a lot more healing and shadow work on myself. I'm a little bit lesser attached. I was attached to my son for a while, quite a bit. We were soulmates throughout many lifetimes, and it was very difficult for me to let go of him, or do certain things to let him have his journey. Sometimes when we're too attached to our children, we have a very difficult time letting them go to do their thing. Okay, we have to always control how they do things, why they do things, and so forth. If you find yourself controlling that aspect and not being able to let them go, you are attached to your child. Which means that you probably have some unresolved issues. Perhaps you were our soulmates and you knew each other in other lifetimes. You have unresolved issues in regards to that. And that, I've had that with my son, with my mom. We are all soulmates together. We've traveled many other lifetimes together. And so you develop these attachments. And it's easily remedied actually through healing, through shadow work, which we'll be doing in a few weeks, we'll be doing some shadow work journey for 6 weeks with quantum healing. So if you have not signed up yet, I would encourage you to do so, especially in these times. You want to clear your field of anything that may be in your way of being in a good space. Like, for example, attachments, right? Because how easily will they manipulate you with taking away things to get you to do stuff you wouldn't normally do, and depending on your attachments. And so, you know, or another example is, for example, my dad was attached to his house that he was trying to sell. Well, as a result of that, his house wasn't selling for quite a long time. Beautiful house, wouldn't sell. People came to look at it, but they wouldn't buy it because he was attached. Sometimes resolving these things on a spiritual level, you actually, you know, resolve how things then end up working out in the physical world, in your reality, okay? So, you know, that's another thing you can be attached. You can be attached to things in your home, like your furniture, or you can be attached to your bed, sleeping in your bed, right? Would you sleep anywhere else? Can you sleep without your bed? You can be attached to food. You can be attached to, you know, never running out. Perhaps you've had lifetimes where, you know, you were starving. So now you're attached to food. You always have to have it around, you know, you can't be without it. I actually have had my own attachments in regards to that. So yeah, these attachments, you know, hoarders are actually an extreme example of attachment. You know, again, attachments fill the holes we created through pain in the past. And the unfortunate things about those attachments is the pain does create fear, and the fear actually keeps us attached to those things. And it's then very difficult for us to let go of those things. And you can measure attachment by how difficult something is to let go. Now, you don't have to necessarily let it go, but just the idea of letting it go may tell you how attached you are to that thing, gauging how difficult it is to let go of something, right? So there's a lot to be said about attachments and putting ourselves into a position where we are easily blackmailed, easily manipulated. We choose to do the wrong thing because we cater to our attachments. And so it really behooves yourself to, you know, get rid of as many attachments as you can. And if you can say that you're in the space of be open to everything, attached to nothing, then you probably have arrived, because a lot of us have a lot of attachments all the time. We just don't know them or don't notice them. But one way to do that, to put yourself in a better position of not being as manipulated or as blackmailed by anybody, is to actually do some shadow work healing. And with quantum healing that I'm offering here coming up, and that, you know, mending that pain, that unresolved pain, is really what it's about. And when you can mend that, you are filling the holes with the right things, if you will, with the right kind of energy, instead of with the wrong kinds of energy, trying to fill it with external things. And because that never really truly works, you know. You know, so like even like with your partner, if you're afraid to lose them, you might compromise you know, what you do or how much you let them hurt you, for example, if it's an abusive relationship, because you just can't let go. You know, that's why actually people stay, for example, in abusive relationships, because they just can't let go, because they're too attached emotionally, and it's because of their pain. And that's exactly why they are in that relationship in the first place. And so when you can heal up that pain, you resolve all the external stuff as well. If you haven't signed up yet to the 6-week journey of shadow work with quantum healing, I would really highly recommend you do so. The price is wonderful, and you're going to learn so much about yourself, and you're going to get rid of some of these attachments and fears, and allow yourself to rise in vibration and be in a better space and more prepared to conquer the world and to face whatever's coming. you know, because change is here, change is coming, things are not going to be back to normal. We are in the midst of shifting, and we're going to continue to shift. So I wish you all the best. I hope this helps understanding a little bit about attachments, and I love you guys, and I will see you soon again.